Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the CEO Clinician Podcast. I am your host, Camisha Brewer Dickerson, and today you guys are in for a very special treat. So, we are starting a brand new series called the Success Studies series. And in the series, I'm going to be interviewing several of my former coaching clients and past students who have been in my program because I want y'all to get all in their business. I want y'all to hear about what they're doing, what they've learned, what they're doing in the field, some of the challenges that they face, just all the things, because we want you guys, as the listeners of the podcast, and those of you who will be watching it live, we want y'all to study their success. I think being able to see other therapists doing the things that you dream about and that are in your journal with all these ideas, to see that in real life, I think it's really going to help you. So we're going to jump in. Lynsey is our first guest of the series. So I'll stop talking now. And Lynsey, I'll give you a moment to introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are, what you do, that kind of thing.
Well, thanks for having me, Camisha. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Lynsey Retzlaff. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Wisconsin. I currently, I feel like I've done things a little bit backwards compared to what you typically help people with. So when I first started wanting something different, I was working at a job that was kind of burning me out. And I had met Camisha through a just different live event and did not know what I wanted to do. So I started with the idea of doing speaking. So I know, Camisha, you talk a lot about, building your private practice, right? That was not something on my radar. It wasn't even something that I was thinking about being a possibility. So we'll kind of get into the details about how I got here. But currently, I'm a coach where I help working moms prevent and recover from burnout. And I'm also a speaker where I provide companies mental wellness solutions to prevent burnout and retain employees.
I love that on so many
Mhm.
levels. And I love the fact that you chose your own path, because even our interaction, like from the live event, was totally like non traditional for me as far as how I approach people. But for the listeners, this is why I teach y'all relationship based marketing. I wasn't talking to Lynsey during that event hoping she would become a client because, as she said, private practice wasn't even on her radar.
Yep,
It was a live event for speakers and learning how to pitch and get corporate contracts, that kind of thing. And it was so good. But you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know what that
exactly.
relationship can grow and expand into, which is why you need to be nice to people always and just keep the lines of communication open. I think we've been texting, we were on LinkedIn for a little bit, we were like sharing memes back and forth. Like, everything doesn't have to be super professional always. You can really be human even though you're both therapists. So let's jump into the niche and talk to them more
Mhm.
about how you even got there, because I know for a lot of therapists, they're like, I think I need to have a niche. Well, you don't need to. I recommend it, but I know sometimes you have to kind of grow into your niche, and sometimes your niche finds you. So, walk us through how you landed on this particular niche for working moms.
I have 2 kids. One is about to turn 6 and the other is 3, and being a full-time working mother was very, very difficult. I knew early on that I wanted to have a career. It it wasn't some I didn't wanna stay home. Initially, I thought I did, but then after, maternity leave, I was like, "Nope, I gotta go back to work." So drawing on my own experiences and my own expertise, as far as burnout goes, that's something that I can help people with. So that seemed like a natural, place to go for me. With that being said, though, I didn't come to the term burnout right away. It was something that I kind of landed on, like you're suggesting. It was from working with different people that I kind of realized the theme of this is burnout. I kind of went into it more from this very therapist approach of I don't know how to niche this down because I can help people with anxiety and depression and trauma and all these different things, and it was way too overwhelming to even think about what can I post about. There people weren't going to know what they could get from me if I could just do everything. So, niching down was really important. That was one of the things that I had no idea about until I started working with you and talking with you. It's like, oh, okay, that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think that's a fear and a concern for a lot of therapists is feeling like they're going to exclude people. And it's not about the exclusion so much. I think it's more so about the inclusion of the people you really want to work with and the people you are best equipped to serve, which is not everybody. I don't care how many trainings you do, I don't care how many certifications you have. There is a specific group of people where you are at your best and you don't have to constantly be learning how to help them. Like it's just kind of
Mhm.
in you and it feels natural and it feels aligned. And I feel like that's the fastest way to build your practices when you feel good and confident about the work that you're doing and the people you're serving.
Absolutely. It just comes out authentically when you talk with people. You don't have to work at it, and I think they can pick up on that.
Yeah, and I think trying to force it, I think people also pick up on that too.
Mhm.
When they know like, okay, this therapist, she is a little out of her scope. I don't feel like this is what she does. And so this is why I spend so much time talking about integrity and not just taking clients for coaching or even for therapy because you need money. Like we have to get past that because people's lives are in the balance. And at any point, that could be our mom or our cousin, our best friend from high school in a therapy session with a therapist who's not equipped to fully handle the nuances of the challenges that they're facing. And I think we got to hold people accountable and just say, okay, that's not for me, but I have a contact that I can refer you to. And I know for sure this is what they do and this is what they specialize in. So I'm so proud of you for having that awareness of where you needed to be and who you needed to be working with.
Absolutely.
So, my next question, let's talk about your program and kind
Mhm.
of tell them about how your coaching works. And because I think that's how you got to me the end of last year. We were doing some
Mhm.
VIP coaching to launch this program and maybe even speak to what it takes to launch a coaching program when you're a therapist and getting all the things prepared for the launch. And, everyone's looking at the enrollments. Oh, I want clients. I want clients. Cool. But there is a whole lot of stuff that has to be done in preparation to launch this program. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So the the program that I have for working moms is called the Working Mom Narrative, and it's based around um there's so much societal pressure, family pressure on what a working mom or even just a woman should be doing in her life. My example too, I had a lot of guilt when I was in the maternity leave where I decided I need to go back to work. And I was like, ooh, that feels wrong because I'm a mother and I should want to stay home. And I feel like those pressures is what keeps people from living the life that they want, that makes them happy. It adds to burnout, stress, all of that stuff. So the working mom narrative really ties back to my roots with trauma recovery. And when people process through their trauma, they have to rewrite their narratives because all these belief systems that they have, right, feel like they're true and they drive decision making. So the working mom narrative is to focus on those societal pressures. Do you have family pressures that dictate what it is you need to do? And do you have the skills to be able to renew your life, change that narrative and reclaim it? Um, so boundaries, working through anxiety because there's a lot of times where it's nerve-wracking to put yourself out there and say, no, I'm pushing up against this. This is not what I want out of my life. So that's kind of the idea about the program. Um, and as far as creating it, because I was starting with this, I was very just kinda, I don't know, I need something else, and it was speaking, and then I kinda realized through all of our work together, like, "Oh, I could even do more with this." I did not have the business mind or even, like, this entrepreneurial mind, and because of that, it helped so much to be able to learn from other people what they have done. It saved me so much time. There's setting up the website, setting up the program, all the behind the scenes stuff like the funnels, and do you have these automations set up? And um, I mean, I could just go on and on and on about it. It's a lot of work. It's fun,
Mhm.
but if you don't have systems or people that you can bounce ideas off of, it takes so much longer. And as a working mom, I don't have time for that.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and it's so true. The nuances of the setup, I think it's where you can be the most stressed out and overwhelmed, like in the whole launching process of getting it done. But you also understand, like, if the goal was to get sales and enrollment
mm,
and get people to say, hey, I'm going to get my credit card out of my wallets and enter my payment information on this person's site, you got to come with some value and you got to come with some things that are going to transform their lives. You have to start speaking their language. I love your language of just renewing your life and changing the narrative because I think it speaks to an empowerment position, which a lot
yes.
of working moms are looking for. Like, yes, they're ambitious, but they also got little people at home who need dinosaur chicken nuggets in the evening. It's like there's a balance in that. And if you can speak to the reality of where they're at and what they're dealing with, then their enrollment decision makes sense if it's
Yes.
helpful. It's not enough to just have the cute website and the landing pages. You can have automations for days and not make a dime if it's
Yep.
not going to help the people and you can't articulate how you're going to help them.
Absolutely. And to your point too, if it was all about just getting money, honestly, I would have quit a long time ago because it takes dedication to do all of this and set it up. Um, and it's easy. It's easy to how do I want to say it? To get in your head about, I don't know, is this working? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. But the goal is I know that I bring value, and it's just a matter of doing all of the things like relationship marketing and all of that stuff to bring the people in and being consistent.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think consistency means so many different things for different
Mhm.
people. I think it has also become a buzzword on social media,
Yep.
like being intentional, right? Being intentional and being consistent. Well, if you're not actually doing those things by definition, that's not you yet. It doesn't mean you can't become that, but in order to be consistent, you literally have to be consistent. There's no way around it. And everyone's consistency frequents, that could vary. Consistency doesn't mean you post every single day online. That doesn't make you consistent. I mean, could be, but I mean, what do
Mhm.
your posts do for people? Do they inspire
Right.
them? Do they feel encouraged? Does it lead them to want to send you a message or schedule a call with you? Like the content has to be moving people in a direction to where they feel like, okay, I can do this. I can change
Mhm.
the narrative of my life, even though I'm a working mom and I'm trying to balance a career and deal with the guilt and deal with the anxiety. I know we talked a little bit about complacency too. Let's go
Mhm.
there for a minute before I keep going to my next question. Can you talk about the work you do around complacency as well?
Yeah, so, I feel like when people talk about complacency, especially, like, in a company where there's, like, supposed to be this output, it's often referred to like, "Well, what can we do with our systems, to make it more productive? What are the mistakes that people are making? You're being complacent in some of these things. Maybe you're missing steps or processes or whatever." But as a therapist, we all know that there's a whole nother level underneath that. If this person has trauma, if they have troubles in um their home life, if their kid is going through something, that's not going to allow them to be present in the moment to actually be productive and be efficient at their job. So we can't just put a band-aid on it. And that's kind of where I kind of talk about it like complacent mental health. If we're not moving forward, it's easy just to be complacent and just keep going and going, and we're not reassessing what we need to go forward. So it's almost like it's different than burnout, but there is this overlap with if you're burned out, you're not also going to like continue doing the things and reassessing and really prioritizing your mental health. And that can lead to complacency over time.
I love that. And I think that's what our listeners need to hear. Like there is a difference even though there's an overlap, and you kind of
Mhm,
choose which one of those things you want to tackle first, right? You can deal with the
mhm,
burnout head on, you can deal with the complacency head on, but because there is an overlap, committing to doing the work of that to evolve and to grow as a person and working on your personal development, if you're working mom or not, I think that's what helps people to really feel accomplished in their life and feel like, okay, I can do this. I'm on track. I have results and checkpoints to say, okay, I used to struggle and have 5 panic attacks a day. I'm down to 2. We're making progress. And
yeah.
that deserves a celebration. Like any type of progress on any level, I think all of that deserves to be celebrated because we spend so much time working and looking to the next and trying to get to the next thing and the next goal. And we don't give ourselves time to sit and to embrace the level of success that we've already accomplished. So,
Mhm.
for my next question for you, let's talk about some of your accomplishments. Like since the program, I know you've been busy. I stalk everybody that's been in our programs because I'm a fan. Like I'm y'all's biggest cheerleader. I want to see what you're
You
doing,
are.
where you're going. I want to share your stuff. Like I'm that kind of coach. I'm not that coach that's like, all right, well, I worked with them last year. Good luck. I hope they make it. Like I want to do life with people. I want to see pictures of your kids at Halloween. Like I'm that person. So, what have you accomplished since we were able to work together?
Um, well, putting together my first signature talk, which was the potential for complacency, uh, starting this working mom narrative group and hopefully movement as we continue to grow. Um, and I've also landed 2 speaking gigs. One of them I'm really excited about. It's at a Fortune 500 company for an ERG. I'm really excited. Really excited.
Amazing.
Yeah. Um, and just through a lot of these things that I've kind of picked up from your coaching and even a lot of your free content too, it's just that connection, that relationship with people. Developed a really good relationship with the event coordinator, and she's talking about, doing things next year as well. And even incorporating maybe workshops or like smaller kind of groups along those lines too. So it's really exciting. The next thing that I'm kind of launching, September 22nd actually, is a private Facebook group for the working mom narratives to help women get get more support. I feel like it would be there's a lot of working moms on Facebook groups. And
Mhm.
I don't want this to be like a lot of the other ones, not that there's anything wrong with that, because I think it is necessary to get questions answered. But I want this to be really focused on the mom herself and being very vulnerable. And I think I'll be able to provide a lot more content and connection through a private group like that. So that's kind of my next venture.
That's so exciting. And I'm so proud of all your accomplishments because I know there's a need. And I know you did the market research to back it up. But I think, if you're a woman or, a mom, you have a mom, you're around moms, like you just see the stress, even in the workplace, like you hear about it, the challenges. Oh, my kid got sick. I got to go pick him up and he's got a fever. Like dealing with those things, I think moms need a safe space and not the theoretical safe space, but like a real safe space with a trained mental health professional because some spaces are not safe even though they are labeled as safe. Like everyone
Yep.
has to kind of determine what their own version of safe is. But I'm so proud of you for staying the course and committing to really serving those women. So I know you spoke to like more business accomplishments, but can you talk about like your personal accomplishments for Lynsey the person, not Lynsey the therapist and the working mom coach and the speaker, probably future author, podcaster, whatever, but Lynsey as a person, what has she been able to do?
Um, I've been able to by following this need for something else, being aware of what was making me unhappy, professionally and personally. I was able to make these really scary changes, and I feel more fulfilled, and I feel like I've been able to balance work and personal life and family a lot easier by taking some of these initial risks. Like, again, with those social norms and pressures, they really have you convinced that, like, this work-life balance is just, like, this myth and you can't do it. And I don't like using the word balance, but I like using harmony, because there are times where, yeah, I do have to spend more time on my business, but then there's other times where I don't have to feel guilty when I'm also just with my family too.
Mhm.
So, just a lot of growth, personally as well. I think the focus on networking and challenging some anxiety myself has allowed me to build relationships with people that I wouldn't have come in contact with before. And that's also opened my eyes to just different experiences that people have, different struggles people have. And I feel like that's just overall made me a better person.
I love that
Mhm.
because I think that's the byproduct of coaching and mentorship and committing to the work as you grow as a person. Like it's not just about launching the program, building the website, getting the enrollments. Like you become somebody different in this process. And I think even at the level that I'm on in my business, I still have a coach. I will probably always have a coach because every new level after this is going to require something different of you. It's going to be new
Yes.
challenges, new stressors. You're going to need maybe not even more of a support system, but maybe even a different support system of people who understand where you're at. Like as therapists, if you're if your caseload is full and now you're looking at monetizing your skill set and packaging your expertise, if all of your therapist friends don't have 5 clients yet, like, it's hard to have a conversation with them
Mhm.
because they're on a whole different level of stress. It doesn't mean they're beneath you. It just means y'all are on two different wavelengths. And so I think it's so important to grow and to evolve and to give yourself permission to, like you said, push past being introverted because I'm introverted too. And
Mhm.
I looked at my calendar today. I was like, I have podcast interviews. Who did that? Who set that up? I set that up like a month ago. But when you're introverted, you're just introverted. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Kamisha, you're building a business. You have a podcast. You have to do interviews. I'm like, okay, all right, Kamisha, calm down. We can do this. It's Lynsey. We know her. We're
Yeah.
good. It's gonna be fun. But that's the push, right? That's the personal evolution that comes when you commit to doing the work and growing your business and doing all the things. But like you said, not neglecting your family if they need your attention, not having to feel guilty if you can't work on your business, for 3 days. It's okay. It
Mhm.
won't go under. And if it goes under in 3 days, we got a much bigger problem anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've got a huge problem. So we're almost done. I've got one, two-ish more questions. We'll see. So next to last question. What do you want people to know about your experience with business coaching with me? I know we've hinted at it, we've talked about the nuggets, but anyone who's listening and they're like, okay, I think I need to work with Kamisha. I think I'm where Lindsay is. Like, I want to do something more. I feel drawn to a specific group of people. I want to put something together for them. I don't know if it's a group, if it's a course, if it's a coaching program, if it's a podcast, if it's a work. I want to do something for them. Like, what would you say to people about your experience with coaching with me?
Oh, wow, there's so much. I think the biggest things would be just get on the call and ask questions, even if you're, like, a little bit concerned, because working with you has allowed me to really, get things done a lot quicker, because you are where I eventually want to be. You have all these different, streams of income and all of that. You really have what I wanted, and that, because you've done it, you can tell me a lot quicker, and that was really helpful. I think the way, just your personality and the way that you are you're warm, but you also just kind of tell it like it is in a good way. Like, hey, have you thought about this? Or don't waste your time on that. Try doing this. And that really helps. That really helps with the accountability. Um, and I think too, like we've mentioned before, I'm just super impressed with how you, even after we've technically stopped working together, you still just show up like on my accounts, or like we'll text every now and then. Like that says a lot. You can't, that's just part of who you are. And it keeps even those little like fire emojis that you'll put on some of my posts. I'm like, yes, that's what I needed. I know Camisha gets it. And
Yep.
it just helps, it helps drive. The other thing that I think is really helpful is how you offer the VIP days too, because there's things that just come up, and having that ability to kind of jump back in and go, okay, help me with this really quick. That helps. I know like one time we worked together and you were talking about like how to actually close, these sales, these discovery calls, because that was something that I was kind of struggling with. So being able to kind of jump in with you is really helpful as well.
Mhm. And that's the business model I wanted. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be a
Mhm.
part of people's lives long term and always have an opportunity for y'all to come back and work with me. Um at a lower rate too, because like I know where you are. You know what I mean? Like we're not
Yeah.
starting from scratch where we got to build this whole thing out. I'm like, oh, this is a small tweak. We can get in, we can get this fixed and we can go on. But I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur and having the options of building customized coaching packages for your people. Everything doesn't have to be what's on the website. I'm working with a client right now, VIP client. She's launching her program, but the back pocket offers that, okay, like this ain't on my website, but send me a DM, let's talk it out, let's work it out, and let's just
Yes.
do it. It doesn't always have to be, well, on my website I said it's this much. If you have somebody who needs you less, like they need a quick call or like a 30-minute, you can do it, charge less, and move on. Like no one has to know that this was like a whole public thing that's not in alignment with your website. And so I wanted a business like that where I could help
Yeah.
people, I could be there, I could celebrate you, I could cheer for you. Any speaking engagement that I'm already booked for, and if I get an opportunity, I'll call Lynsey like, "Hey, I can't do this, but I think you'd be a good fit for it," especially if it
Yeah.
has anything to do with working moms or
Hmm.
complacency, which is why you need to know your people and what they're involved in and what they're capable of. And I totally see you on the other side of your business and having all the things that I currently have plus more. And I'm so excited for your journey, and I'm so excited that you took the opportunity to even do this interview with me. So
Absolutely.
before we tell people where they can find you, is there anything else you want people to know about you, your programs, what you're doing?
um I think I kind of said most of what I needed to. It just because everybody here is kind of in the same boat with starting out. Like, obviously, if you know of anybody that's struggling, send them my way. And even if it doesn't work out, like we always do in therapy, we'll refer them out. But just kind of spreading that word, that connection. If anybody just wants to reach out to me too, just to say like, hey, this is me and this is what I do. I love to kind of expand my own network too.
Wonderful. So, can you tell everyone where they can find you on social media so they can reach out? We'll put all of your links in the description below and on the podcast whenever we pull the audio for this recording. But tell everybody where they can find you and how y'all can connect.
You can visit me at my website, www.lynseyretzlaff.com. My name is spelled odd, so yes, do check the show notes. Um, you can find me on Facebook at Lynsey Retzlaff LLC. I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram. But yeah, just kind of reach into my DMs if you want to say hi, or you can contact me through my email as well, which you'll find on the website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out to do this interview. And we are praying for you and your family and all the working moms that you're going to serve.
Thank you so much, Kamisha.
Thanks, Lindsay.